Hi, are you a wedding supplier or perhaps you're a wedding venue and you really want to start working with wedding planners? If so, this video is just for you. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Bernadette. I am a wedding business consultant and I have been in the wedding industry since 2002, from working as a wedding planner to owning the leading industry body for wedding planners and suppliers here in the UK. There's not much I don't know about the wedding industry. And today I'd like to share with you more about if you are a supplier and vendor, how can you encourage wedding planners to start using you for their weddings? But before we go any further, as always, if you are watching this video, there's always a blog article to accompany this. You can see the link and all the details just down below. And as a small channel, I would love it if you could support my channel by hitting that subscribe button. Okay, so if there is one question I get asked again and again throughout my last 22 years in the wedding industry, that is, how can I get on a wedding planner's little list? How can I encourage wedding planners to start referring me to their clients? I think sometimes working with wedding planners can seem a little bit like the Holy Grail, as if all of a suppliers or venues' problems are going to just whiffed away just by working with a wedding planner. If only life was that simple, hey? So although a wedding planner cannot wave that magic wand for you, they can certainly be amazing for your business in terms of the quality of leads that you're getting and also repeat business. I'm going to talk to you more about that in a second. So there really is an art to building up a referral relationship with a wedding planner, and it takes time. I'm going to explain to you why working with a wedding planner is fabulous, but they're not always the answer to your problems. So first of all, why even work with wedding planners? So firstly, I mean, how much do you know about wedding planners? Is this going to be the right decision for you? So I personally think that wedding planners are not suited to every type of wedding supplier. So sometimes wedding suppliers will try to build up relationships with wedding planners, and it's never going to work. And it's never going to work for a number of reasons. That the particular niche of that supplier isn't something that is aligned with what the wedding planner offers. It could be that you're just not good enough, that your brand is not good enough, that your messaging is all mixed up and they're not even really sure what it is that you do. For a wedding planner, it is really important that whoever they are recommending to their clients, they are putting their trust in you. And so they will only hire a supplier if they are the best person for the job, if they can trust that wedding supplier to give a top service to their couples. So why is it a wedding planner could be good for your business? So first of all, bigger budgets. Generally speaking, wedding planners will be working with wedding couples with decent budgets. Thus, it's going to be more profitable for you. I would say for a wedding planner doing full planning, it's unusual for them to be working with anything less than 50,000 for the actual wedding budget, and it will just go up from there. You're going to get repeat business. Whereas when you're working with a wedding couple, you're working with them just once, maybe a second time if they've got siblings. But a wedding planner is going to be referring you business year after year until such time your quality of work no longer matches their niche. So, for example, when I first started with one of my wedding photographers back in I think 2005, it may have actually been 2003. Anyway, my last wedding with her was in 2019. And I used her year after year because I loved working with her, and her quality of her photography was was amazing. When I first started working with her, she was a print photographer, and then she changed to digital. That's how long ago it was. Many of my suppliers were on my list for over a decade, and I estimate I gave them tens of thousands of pounds worth of business. I used them because I trusted them. They were an integral part of my team. I believe for a wedding planner, we are only as good as the team that we've got working on the wedding day with us. And remember, I didn't take commission. So the only benefit to me outside of the quality of their work was, if I was lucky, a Christmas hamper and the occasional referral. But even that wasn't that often. I'm not saying do that, by the way. Um, The other benefit is your portfolio. So, do you get frustrated sometimes that your weddings are not elevating, they're just kind of staying the same? You feel that you're stuck in a rut with the same type of client and the same type of wedding style. A wedding planner is going to create a phenomenal design with everything coordinating together. It's their job to make sure that all elements are coordinating. So that they're thinking about the overall design, not one aspect of it. Have you ever arrived at a wedding and you've looked at the cake table in despair because the linen is too short? Or perhaps you're a florist and you arrive and, I don't know, the linen is dirty, or the chairs are clashing with what you've done, or your flowers don't go with the room. It's it's a planner's job to ensure that that doesn't happen. So they will have the bigger picture. And it's a planner's job to ensure that the design is going to be elevating their business and not just the suppliers' businesses as well. And the thing is, when you are working in the industry, you're almost only as good as your last wedding. And couples need to see what is possible, and scaling can be really difficult for you in the wedding industry if you can't show what you're capable of. And that's where suppliers sometimes get stuck and they're not able to elevate because they don't have images or the proof that they can step to that next level. So by working with a wedding planner, the design will be beautiful, everything will be coordinating together. Thus, your portfolio is going to look even better, because it doesn't matter how good your stationery is, as an example, if everything around it looks naff. So, a stationery on a wedding day is going to look rubbish if it's not accompanied by the right tone of table settings and linen and flowers. They all go hand in hand. So, wedding planners will promote the wedding. So, because, like I just said, a wedding planner is only as good as their last wedding, which is why they're so particular about who they are going to work with. It is so imperative to them that they can trust their team. So, after the wedding, they'll be sharing images on their website, on their social media. Plus, wedding planners are darn good at tagging and crediting. So why does this benefit you? Well, it's not unusual for other wedding planners to start using you once they see you've been tested by a colleague. And of course, you benefit from the tagging and people just in general seeing, oh, okay, that cake was done by this person, the flowers were done by this person. Organizational skills. I mean, this stands to reason, doesn't it? But a wedding planner's role is to be an organizational goddess for God. So they will ask you all the questions pertaining to your role at the wedding and ensure that you have what you need to provide a top-notch service. Need 5 power sockets? No problem. Need somewhere to get changed? That's okay. Family feud predicted to cause friction, maybe? Pre-warned is pre-armed, after all. So it is their job to make sure that you have all of the information that you need so that you can do your job properly, and that you're not scrambling around to find, power leads, extension leads, and things like that. You tell the wedding planner what you need, and they're going to make it happen. Excellent suppliers, I mentioned this earlier. So, is there anything worse than turning up on a wedding day and then you find substandard suppliers causing havoc and creating a bad atmosphere? A wedding planner will hire the best team for the client, and oftentimes many of the suppliers have met and worked together at previous weddings, time and time again. I know that certainly was the case with my wedding team, and having a superb wedding team will ensure that the wedding will look fabulous and go according to plan, and that's what you want. So to reiterate, there is no magic wand. So I mentioned this briefly in my intro, but working with a wedding planner is not the answer to all your prayers. It does not mean that your diary is suddenly going to be full. Building up said relationships takes time. It is also worth noting that for most wedding planners, except on the day coordination, they can only work about 10 weddings a year. Some will do up to, say, 15. Whereas many suppliers, you'll be working 3 times that, if not more. So don't pause all your marketing efforts just because a planner is referring business your way. You can't lay back and start smoking your cigar. That isn't how it works. And whilst we're talking about that, I just want to highlight that I can't be bribed. So my zone of genius is building connections between wedding planners and suppliers. And you know what? I'm darn good at it. I've been doing it through the Alliance since 2004. I excel at it. Helping my suppliers and venues understand a strategy for nurturing wedding planners and creating that authentic partnership with them. I'm good at it. There's a process that I ask my clients to take, and frankly, this takes time. Sometimes I get contacted by businesses who don't really want to do the work. They will offer me commission if I can introduce them to wedding planners, and then every time that wedding planner uses them, they'll pay me a commission. Now, anyone that knows my history will know that is not the way to get me working for them. And it's also not the way that a wedding planner is going to be enticed to use them either. I've already been approached 3 times this month, and we're not even at the end of the month yet. So, from a business point of view, that isn't how wedding planners work. They won't use someone just because I've told them to. Doesn't matter how long I've been in the industry, doesn't matter how many wedding planners I've trained or how many connections I have. I can't just say, Sarah, you need to use this photographer now, okay? I'm telling you that's who you need to use. I mean, that isn't how it's going to work, is it? I had to try and choose a name. There's not many planners, I don't think, called Sarah. Oh, there's Sarah Hayward, but so Hayward, I wasn't talking about you. Also, I'm not an agent. Even when I ran the UKWP, this wouldn't be something I'd say yes to. And honestly, I think it's lazy. It's invariably from businesses that don't want to nurture any kind of relationship. They don't want to put the work in. They just want to throw money at the problem and assume this will be enough. I'm a consultant. I'm a wedding business consultant. That means I give strategic solutions to problems that clients have. I won't build those relationships for you. Want my help? Great. I can help you. I'll give you a strategy. But I can't just do the work for you. That's not how it works. Might I suggest that you book my Strategize and Energize service? It's really good at helping you understand how wedding planners work and creating that strategy for you. Okay, moving on. Are you working at a wedding this year and perhaps um, perhaps the wedding planner hasn't hired you, so you've been hired by the couple, but you found out there's actually a wedding planner there. Um, Brilliant. If so, great. Do some research into that planner. Is that the sort of planner you want to work with again? Do you like their work? Do you feel this could be a connection that's worth nurturing? That's the first thing. So this is a fabulous opportunity. Don't blow it. What you want to do is leave a positive, lasting impression. So when a wedding planner gives you a schedule or timeline, acknowledge it, read it. If there's any questions you have or indeed changes, let them know. Communicate if anything feels unrealistic in the schedule or goes against discussions that you and the client had previously. After all, the zone of genius of a planner is organising the wedding. And although they may have worked with hundreds of florists or photographers in the past, they haven't worked with you. So if there are changes that you would like to be made, then get in contact with them, have that discussion. Um, and I say this with love, you're not the most important person at the wedding, nor is the wedding planner. The couple is the most important person. So I know that you want 2 hours just to photograph the couple, or you want 90 minutes to sound check, but sometimes it just isn't possible for a number of reasons. So a wedding planner is conducting all vendor roles on the day. So sometimes you may not get everything that you want. They have to see the bigger picture, not just your role with it. But that doesn't mean don't have those conversations. Do have those conversations with them. On the day of the wedding, touch base with them, check if there are any changes, keep them posted of any tweaks to your service. If you act like a diva, expect to be ghosted after the wedding. If you normally share behind the scenes, check with them first because the client may prefer the design to be private until professional images are available. If behind the scenes is allowed, make sure you tag the planner in it. You'd be crazy not to. After the wedding, send a thank you message saying it was a pleasure working with them. And if you're the photographer, bonus points for any in-action shots you get of the planner. Trust me, this will be like gold dust and used by the planner in their marketing, and they'll be crediting you. Refer clients to wedding planners. It's not a one-way street. I know wedding planners are the top of the food chain, but don't forget to mention them to clients that you think would benefit from a planner. Maybe there's a wedding in your portfolio that a client loves and it was planned by a wedding planner. Tell them. I remember situations actually many years ago. As I said, there was a core team that I used to use at a lot of my marquee weddings. And I remember looking at the portfolio of, I can't remember now, I think it was the marquee company, and seeing, oh, they've used the bar I've used. Oh, they're using the lighting we normally get. And I could see what they had done is they'd seen what I'd done with a client and they tried to recreate it. But the end result was pretty rubbish because it doesn't matter if you bring all those team people, all those suppliers in. You need that person to conduct them, to create that overall vision. And that's what a wedding planner does. So if there is a wedding that you think would really benefit from a wedding planner, talk to your clients about it, mention it. If they say no, fine, they say no. Just get into that habit of doing it. Remember that wedding planners do talk, so it's not that we gossip, but they will share stories of fantastic and horrendous suppliers and venues. And if a planner loves you, I can guarantee more wedding planners are going to start hiring you as well. It's like a ripple effect. So, what frustrates wedding planners? Just sending a blanket email is definitely one of the things. It's not the strategy that's going to work to get on a wedding planner's little list. So don't just send, if you send an email, you're probably not going to get a response because we get so many a day. Not knowing their name, not knowing their niche, not knowing anything about them is going to be irritating. Poor customer service. Doesn't matter how good your marketing is, how slick it is, if you can't back it up with customer service, they're not going to be using you again. Suppliers that overstep. So when a planners have organised the day impeccably and then suddenly a supplier will start taking over, changing things and timings. I remember a catering company many years ago whose front of house person called guests into the marquee without my say so, and was a disaster as the bride and groom were on a nearby bridge, ready for the photographer to take a photo of them on the bridge with all of their guests in the background. Yet they'd all been told to go into the marquee because they hadn't spoken to me. Now, if you're working with a wedding planner who is rubbish and doesn't have a clue what they're doing, absolutely take over. Absolutely. I am not saying that every single wedding planner is amazing. They're not. There are some atrocious wedding planners, just like every wedding supplier isn't amazing. There are some atrocious wedding suppliers. Okay, so if this all sounds good and you want to start working with wedding planners, Brilliant. Know that you need to do that consistent action. It doesn't happen overnight. It's all about nurturing and not bribery. Just contacting them saying, I'll pay you commission isn't a reason for them to hire you. They might take commission, but that won't be the reason why they hire you. You've got a lot of steps to do beforehand. Now you may decide, you know what, this sounds like a lot of work. I can't be bothered to do that. Totally fine, totally fine. But if you are ready to take that next level and you really want to work with wedding planners, then I absolutely can recommend my Strategize and Energize. It's a one-to-one service. We have two-hour calls together. I send you a report. In that report, so we'll cover a number of things, but in that report, I will give you the exact procedure that I tell clients to use when they are nurturing a relationship with wedding planners. I will also give you a list of wedding planners, 10 wedding planners for you to consider contacting as well. So there are certain things that I suggest to my clients to do. So if that is something you are interested in, you want to talk to me about that and also about how to scale your wedding business, then just head on over to my website and we can book a call and chat further. So thank you for this. If you want to go and read the article with some of the things that we've discussed in this video, just hit the link below and you can head on over to my blog. And as I mentioned before, I'd love it if you can like and subscribe. And I will be back soon. I think my next video is going to be all about advertising your wedding business. It was so lovely speaking with you. Take care. Speak soon.